The fence post in your yard set in concrete is the single most misunderstood problem in home repair. Most homeowners spend it doing the wrong thing at the wrong angle, and the contractors and rental yards they call tell them to. Whether that post comes out of the ground in 3 minutes or costs you a pulled muscle and an $1,800 bill comes down to one decision you make before you ever touch the post. That is not an exaggeration. That is just the physics of a concrete footing working exactly the way it always has. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how to free a concrete set post from the ground this weekend. Not with a rented auger, not with a skid steer. 2 tools, under $90 total. Nothing complicated. And it compounds. The same 3 minutes per post, whether you're pulling 1 or 48. You have probably tried to pull a stuck post before. Maybe you got there eventually, with a shovel, a pry bar, and an afternoon you didn't want to give up. But there is a difference between eventually getting a post out and knowing exactly how to get it out in 3 minutes, in the right order, understanding why it works. I had a first-time helper on this project, someone who had never touched a tool like this before. She pulled one of the 48 posts out of the ground in under 3 minutes, alone, with no digging and no heavy equipment. Not because she is exceptionally strong, because the method is right. Let me walk you through what I know, one thing at a time, in the right order, nothing sold to you. Now, the 2 things you need to understand before you touch the post, and why most attempts fail before they start. The first is what is actually holding the post in the ground. It isn't just the concrete. It's the suction between that concrete footing and the surrounding soil. The second is why most people fail. They pull straight up, adding more force to a problem that isn't a force problem. It's an angle problem. Once those 2 things are clear, the rest of it is straightforward. Now, I have been working this land for over 30 years. My father, Hiroshi, taught me that the right method is found by close attention to what the ground is actually doing, not by adding more force to it. A lesson I've carried with me since I learned it from him in Nagano. He kept a small notched stick by his workbench to mark how far a stubborn post had moved with each pass, and he wouldn't let me quit until the notches told him it was truly stuck, not just slow. You learn to recognize the moment the ground gives. Yuki, my wife, will tell you I spent a full afternoon on the first post before I understood that. She brought me a glass of water around hour 2 and told me to stop pulling straight up. I have learned to listen. Now, the tools. This matters more than people expect. You need 2 things. The first is a purpose-built post puller, a lever bar with a fulcrum foot designed to grip the post and redirect your body weight into upward force. Not a pry bar, not a come-along. Post puller. The second is a rated chain rated to 6,600 pounds, 8 feet long. That rating is the margin of safety that keeps the chain from failing at the moment of highest tension, the last 6 inches of extraction when the concrete footing finally breaks suction with the surrounding soil. Hardware store chain with no rating on the tag is not adequate for this. If this is the kind of thing you wish someone had told you years ago, that is what this channel is. One method, once a week, tested for 30 years before I ever say it out loud. Nothing sold to you. Subscribe if you want the next one. What you do not need: a hydraulic auger, a skid steer, a tractor attachment, or a second person. My helper ran this alone. The tool does the work. But here's what most people miss. Footing depth changes which version of this method you use, and getting that wrong is why people give up halfway through. There are 2 situations you'll encounter. Shallow set posts have a concrete footing 12 inches or less deep. Deep set posts run 18 to 24 inches, common in fence lines put in with a rented auger and a full concrete pour. For shallow set posts, the method is direct, chain wraps low, lever sets, you rock, the footing comes up in one piece. Skip the soaking step entirely for these. For deep set posts, especially in dry compacted clay, add 1 step the night before. Soak the ground around the post base with about 3 gallons of water and let it sit overnight. Saturated soil releases a concrete footing the way wet ground releases a boot. Once the suction breaks, the resistance drops by half. That one step is the difference between a 3-minute post. Loose, sandy soil, you can usually skip it. Hard, dry clay, which is most suburban yards in midsummer, don't skip it. Now, the step-by-step. Picture this clearly. Step 1. Chain placement. Wrap the chain around the post as close to the soil line as you can get it, 2 to 3 inches above grade. Loop it once and hook the end back to itself so it can't ride up under tension. A chain that climbs the post during extraction loses its mechanical advantage. Step 2. Hook the free end of the chain to the lower attachment point on the post puller, below the fulcrum foot. This is what converts your downward push on the handle into upward pull on the chain. Step 3. Set the fulcrum foot flat against the ground, as close to the post base as the chain allows, typically 4 to 6 inches out. Press it firm before loading any weight on the handle. If it skips or angles, stop and reset. Step 4. The rocking motion, and this is the part that surprises people. You don't pull straight up. Load the lever, feel the resistance, ease off, rotate the post a quarter turn with your hands on the post itself, and load the lever again. Rock and rotate, breaking the bond between the footing and the soil at every angle, not just one. The post doesn't come straight up. It walks out a ½ inch at a time, and then all at once. Step 5. The final pull. You'll feel a distinct drop in resistance when the footing loses its last grip on the soil. At that moment, lean into the handle fully, one steady, continuous push, and stay with it through that last moment. The post and its footing come free together. My helper worked the rocking motion for about 90 seconds, and the post walked free. No digging. No prior experience. Tell me in the comments, what have you pulled? Fence posts? Gate posts? An old mailbox set in concrete? What went wrong the last time you tried it by hand? Now, 4 safety points, and I will not skip them. The chain is under real tension during extraction. Keep bystanders at least 8 feet clear while the lever is loaded. Wear safety glasses and keep your own body to the side of the chain's line of pull, not directly behind it, in case a connection fails. Wear gloves. Cold-worked steel edges will cut bare hands at the hook points. Keep the fulcrum foot on flat ground. On a slope, lay a scrap board under the foot to level it first, or the tool can kick laterally. Once the post is free, the concrete footing comes with it, often 40 to 80 pounds. Wear sturdy closed-toe boots, not sneakers, and know where that footing is going to land before you take the final pull. Now, what this method will not do, because I would rather you trust me than be impressed by me, post is structural, a pergola upright, a deck post carrying load, anything tied into a continuous poured foundation. This method isn't built for it. The chain and lever system is for standard fence line posts, 4x4 or 6x6 lumber, or steel T-posts, set individually in their own concrete. Thing tied into a continuous footing is a job for a contractor, not this tool. Now the complete picture, and why this beats every other option on the table. A contractor to pull 48 concrete set posts across 300 linear feet quoted me $1,800 to $2,400, depending on soil conditions. The post puller and rated chain together cost under $90, and both are in my shed for every project after this one. Amortized across 48 pulls, that's under $2 a post. The method scales down just as cleanly. 2 posts, 6 posts, a single old clothesline anchor, same technique, same time per post, and no crew to schedule and no day off work to be home for it. The chain, the lever, the soak when the footing calls for it, and the rocking motion. Each piece does nothing on its own. Together, they're what walks a post out of the ground in 3 minutes instead of 30. Walk away from the rental equipment. Walk away from the contractor quote. The force was never the problem. The angle was. The ground holds things for a long time. But the ground has rules, And if you understand the rules, it lets go. Next time, I'm going to show you how to set a new post correctly the first time. Depth, drainage, and a sealing method that prevents the rot that forces removal in the first place.